Hey guys, welcome to the video. Thanks for joining me today. Today is January 7th, 2024, and I just thought I'd do a quick video and talk about my running year in 2023 and how it compared to goals. I will say that as far as most goals go, I actually fell very short this year. There were probably a lot of factors that played into it. Big ones being my parents' health. My father was very sick to begin the year, and he kind of went downhill. We were trying to help provide care. He ended up passing away in April. That definitely hurt my training. And then my mother also became very ill. She was battling cancer. But anyway, she's still alive and kicking right now. And we're actually working on moving her out of a residential care home back to home because she's doing so much better right now. So anyway, that has been a lot of stress and things that kind of ate a little bit into my running. But I also, for the first time in my life, had a lot more trouble with sleep. I don't know if that was stress related going with some of the other stuff going on, but I've struggled with sleep, which has not helped my recovery. So my running did not meet the goals. When I set the year, I said I was shooting for about 2,500 miles, which would actually be on the lower end of what I've done the last 7 years. I've had years where I end up around 3,000. I think in 2020 I had 3,500 miles. But even last year I think I was only 2,600 and something. So I just set the goal at 2,500 combined running and walking. Well, I ended up coming in, by my calculations, with 2,096. So I was a good bit below that. And that was actually a little under 1,400 miles of running, and the rest was all walking for training. But so it really wasn't an all bad year, but just wasn't up to what I was shooting for. I know I had also set a goal to get to around 150,000 feet of elevation gain, which isn't big by any means, but each of the previous 2 years I'd done about 160,000. Well, this year I only ended up with about 98,000, so I was nowhere close on the elevation gain. Again, that's okay. I had set a goal to do 50 trail runs during the year. I need to get on the trails more. I love it. I just don't do it enough, and I fell definitely short on that one. I ended up with 39 times this year. So I didn't meet any of those goals, but it's okay. I actually found that I was very inconsistent in the spring when my mother and father had been real ill the first part of the year. So then I kind of dedicated myself to just getting out and running about every day, and I was just doing short runs. That immensely helped me mentally. I know I had a string of about 100 days in a row where I didn't miss a day. After that, I just stayed pretty consistent, getting out probably 5 days a week. Anyway, so even though I didn't run as much as I planned to, I still did a fair amount, and I think it was still a good thing. I still spent a lot of time with community, a lot of people that I knew. I volunteered multiple times, setting up for different trail races, even though I ran very few. For the year, I ended up running 20 races. 9 of those were actually the Trinity 5000, so they were just little 5Ks in the summer. I was not very fast. I've gotten slower, but I was consistent enough and was there enough that I ended up finishing second in my age group for the series. So I was happy with that. I also got finished in the top 3 in my age group in 5 of the weeks, so that was a nice deal. At the beginning of the year, my first race of the year was Jackalope Jam. It was back on February 18th. That was a 48-hour race. I really struggled with the beginning of that one. I was not really trained real well, but it was really interesting. I felt really good toward the end, and I really picked it up. I ended up with 111 miles, so that's my 100-mile finish for the year. That actually ended up finishing me in second place, which was kind of a shocker. The next one I ran was on March 18th. I ran Grasslands. I opted just for the half marathon, but that was a great experience. I always have fun at that race. It's put on by Blaze Trails, and Chris and Ann always do a great job with that race. In previous years, I had mostly run the marathon there, but the last 2 years now I've run the half, and I really actually enjoy the half because it's over quick, it's not too painful, and then I just hang out and I eat barbecue and just enjoy being around friends. That day I went down to the aid station and was helping support people that were running the longer distances. It has races, also a marathon and a 50 miler. This year they will have, in 2024, they'll have a 100 miler for the first time. So hopefully I think I for sure will be at Grasslands in one capacity or another this year. The next race I was signed up for was the Hatchie 50 miler in Waxahachie, Texas. It's basically a road run, but I was signed up for the 50 miler. It's a great little race. It's really supported by the community well. It does 10-mile loops that you do 5 times. It's a fun atmosphere. I've done it multiple times. I thought about dropping down a distance, but just went ahead and stayed in the 50 miler. That one I ended up, I had gotten in a little bit of training, but I still wasn't in very good shape. And my dad passed away the day prior to the race. I thought about not going, and I probably shouldn't have, but I went ahead and went, and actually it worked out great. I DNF'd. I don't DNF very often, but I ran 30 miles of it. I did 3 of the 5 loops, and I just totally ran out of energy and was beat. I think from all the stress of the week and lack of sleep. So, but it was so great to be out with friends, and it was a good distraction from what all was going on in my family life. So it actually was a very good experience. Then I did all those runs during the summer, Trinity 5000. On July 28th, I did the Texas Endurance Runs. That's a 48-hour race out here in North Texas. It's extremely hot. I think we were hitting 105 degrees. Anyway, it's a 48-hour race. It starts at 6 p.m. on Friday night, goes till 6 p.m. on Sunday night. A few years ago I did it, and I did 100 miles before I stopped. This year I was signed up again, but my training, I had done a bunch of short runs. I was running the 5Ks during the series, but I really was not prepared at all for a long run, especially not in that heat. Well, I started out, and they let us set up a nice little aid station for ourselves, like a cot. And my intention was to go as long as I wanted to into the night, and then I was going to go lay down and sleep some and get up and run some the next day. I really didn't have in my plan that I would get to 100 miles, but I thought I would try to get 50 miles or 100K. Well, I ran that first night, and when I walked in just to check my tent and get to some of my aid stuff, a little after midnight, there was someone laying in my cot, and they had sweat all over it. They thought they were just shared area where anybody could sleep anywhere. Well, that kind of ruined it for me. I didn't want to sleep on my cot because they like sweated through my sheets, and my cot was gross. So I went back out. I continued on. I was really struggling, but I got to 33 miles or something. It was 4 in the morning, so I had been out there for 10 hours to do 33 miles, and I just decided to pack up and go home. And I had a lot of friends that were trying to convince me to come back the next night, and I said, well, maybe. But once I got home, I was tired. I just went to sleep, and I didn't go back the next night. It's just how so I quit that race early. I guess I'll still call that an ultra, because I did do over 30, more than a 50K. But that one definitely ended early and was not a super successful race, but it was still fun seeing friends out there. Then in the fall, the Hula Loop series started. Hula Loop is put on by some friends of mine. It's a 6-hour race every other week for 5 weeks. You do 5 races over 10 weeks. But every other week you go and you do a 6-hour race, and you just go see how far you can go. I definitely went into it with no goals this year other than to just try to get in some longer training runs to prepare me for some stuff later in the fall. There were a few days that I went where I would cut the run real short because I needed to go. I was scheduled to work at the running store, but so the first one I did just a little over a half marathon. The next one only did little over 5.5 miles. The third one I did 18 miles, and then the last one that I only did 4 of the 5. I did a little over 20 miles. That one went better. Anyway, so that was all the hula loop ones I did. I can't remember why I didn't do the last one, but anyway, I didn't. So so that was my hula loops. Back on September 23rd, I ran the Paris Pear. Again, I opted for the half marathon. Now that actually was very fun. I was signed up to do the nighttime half marathon. They have races in the morning and in the evening. In the morning, you can do race distances from 5K up to 100K, and then in the evening, I think it's you do race distances between 5K and it's either a marathon or a 50K. So there's multiple races you can do, and a lot of people double up and they do a race in the morning and the race in the evening. I just went to the evening half marathon. I actually had a lot of fun. It went really well. I wasn't real fast, but I enjoyed that race. And then after doing all of those hula loops, my next big race was the Texas Quad. I did day 2. I did a marathon on November 24th. I was planning to not do it real hard. I just wanted to go have a good effort. I was trying to build up and get ready for Perpetual Motion 24-hour race, and it actually went very well for me. I felt comfortable. Wasn't a super fast time. I did like a 4-hour and 39-minute marathon, but I felt good afterwards. I recovered within a day or two. It actually was a very good experience, and it was a lot of fun. Angela Tortorice in Running the Distance Texas does a great job with those races. She puts on 4 marathons in 4 days over Thanksgiving weekend. She did 2 marathons in 2 days out at Bachman Lake in Dallas in the middle of December, and then she puts on 3 in 3 days over Memorial Day. So anyway, they really well run races, and she does a great job. Then I went on 12/2, December 2nd, and I was signed up for the Perpetual Motion 24-hour race. I have done over 100 miles there before. I was hoping I could do it this year, but again, I went into it. I hadn't been sleeping well again. My mother had just been in the hospital again, and I just went in and wanted to see what I could do. I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to stay up all night, and then going into the event, I really didn't sleep good the last couple nights. So, but I went and started the race. I felt pretty good. I got 3 hours in. I felt really good for 3 hours. So I was like 18 miles in just over 3 hours. And then it was just like the energy just drained out of my body. I didn't feel good. But I did enjoy hanging out there with people. I still went till almost 14 and a half hours. I got my 50 miles in and just decided to call that a day. So that will definitely count as an ultra. It wasn't a bad day. I just didn't have the results that I've had in the past. In fact, I went to the race director and said, I'm done, I'm happy, I got my 50 miles. And she says, but you've done over 100 here before. How can you be happy with 50? And I'm like, it's where I am right now, and it's fine. So that was really it for my year of racing. That said, you probably saw a video on the channel that I did a snowdrop. That started on December 30th, but since it doesn't finish till January 1st, they actually call that a 2024 race, so that's the way I'll count it. So that's kind of it. That was my year of racing. Disappointing from not meeting my goals. I didn't really finish that many races other than a lot of 5Ks and a couple half marathons, but it wasn't all bad either. It was kind of a stressful year. There were definitely some highlights too. My son graduated high school this year. My daughter graduated college. So there were definitely some happy times personally as well. I need to get this figured out where I'm not sleeping real great, and I'm hoping 2024 will be better. So I haven't really thought about my goals for this year, but I'll work on that and release a video here sometime coming up. Anyway, thanks for sticking around if you stayed in this long, meandering video. Other than that, that's all I had today. I hope you had a wonderful 2023 and you have even a better 2024. Thanks for watching, and keep moving.